So good morning students. So today we are going to start your suspension. So this already I told you collider dispersion. Like this suspension is a coarse dispersion, you can tell. Coarse dispersion means the particle size range will be different. So while we discuss about collider dispersion, I told you the particle size range will be from 1 nanometer to 1 micrometer. But in this case, suspension, the particle size will be from 1 micrometer to 100 micrometer. So generally the suspension, what will happen? Solid particles will be dispersed in a liquid medium. So generally, if you take, it's practically very difficult to disperse a solid inside the liquid. And here we are taking the solids which are insoluble in nature. The drugs are insoluble and these particles need to be dispersed in a liquid phase. So we need to disperse it continuously, uniformly, so that we can get a good suspension. And also when we are taking this, preparing the suspension, one phase is called a dispersed phase, another phase is called a dispersion phase. That means the solid phase we are dispersing is called as dispersed phase, and the liquid in which we are dispersing is known as your dispersion phase. So it is different types of criteria there for the suspension also. For an ideal suspension there should be good properties. Like your suppose if you take suspension, it should not settle rapidly because we need to use it for a long period. We have to store it for a long period. If suspension particles, suspend the particles settle on the bottom, then it will give a problem to the stability of the suspension. So that's why it should not settle rapidly, and it should have a good optimum viscosity so that it has a good porability. It can easily come out from the bottle of the packing container. And if it is a suspension in injectable form, then it should have good syringeability. Syringeability means it can easily come out from the syringe needles. So like that, different types of ideal properties there, and it should have that property so that we can use it for a particular formulation, particular drug. With this, now we'll discuss the important part of the suspension, that is your interfacial properties of the suspended particles. Interfacial properties of the suspended particles. So what are the interfacial properties? Because we are going to suspend the particle inside a liquid, and that should be uniformly, that is not on the top of the liquid or on the bottom of the liquid. It should be continuously dispersed, uniformly distributed throughout the solution. So that's why it's very difficult task. So that's why we are following different types of using different types of ingredients. We are decreasing surface free energy, we are decreasing interfacial tension, so that we are able to stabilize the suspension. Also we are adding flocculating agent to prepare the flocks. So like the different types of criteria is there. But before that we need to understand what is the mechanism of this, and by knowing this mechanism we can easily stabilize it. Now coming to interfacial properties of the suspended particle, generally two types of property we are taking here. One is surface free energy and second one electrical properties. Let us discuss first one, surface free energy. What is the surface free energy? So when we are trying to suspend the particles, we are decreasing the surface area, we are increasing the surface area, because we are decreasing the particle size, we are increasing the surface area. So while increasing the surface area, the surface free energy also will increase. Surface free energy of the particles will also increase. If surface free energy will increase, then it is thermodynamically unstable. The formulation is thermodynamically unstable. So that's why we'll see when you will apply, we are adding different types of agents, flocculating agents. It will form floccules and it will create a van der Waals forces between the particles. It will create van der Waals forces between the particles. so that it will prepare a flux, and this flux can easily stabilize and decrease the surface free energy. So the first thing we need to understand that as the prepared suspension is having a higher surface free energy, so we need to stabilize it. If a substance, if a liquid system is having a high surface free energy, then it is not stable. It will be always unstable. Unstable means if we try to store it, it may be settle in the bottom, or it may float on the surface, and it may be get aggregated with each other. So that is the instability of the suspensions. So that's why to prevent that we are preparing flocculating agents, we are adding in the suspension, and we are preparing the flux. Now by using this equation we can easily calculate what is the surface free energy. So for that we are taking delta G, which we are termed as surface free energy. With this we are taking your gamma SL, that is your surface tension or interfacial tension between solid and liquid interface. So that's why you can SL, gamma SL. Gamma SL means interfacial tension between solid and liquid interface. Now coming to delta A. Delta A means it is your change in surface area. You can tell it's your total surface area created. Total surface area. So by like this we are preparing the we can tell we are stabilizing the suspension by using this equation. So from this we understand that if we need to decrease the surface free energy, then we need to decrease the surface tension, because we cannot decrease the surface area. Once we have prepared, the total surface area will be remain same. So that's one option with us to decrease the surface tension of the liquid. So now this is all about surface free energy. Now let us discuss about electrical properties. So in these electrical properties, it's also we can tell it's very difficult to understand for you, and it's given by DLVO theory. In the colloids I told you DLVO theory, and this electrical property is described by the DLVO, 4 scientists. And first of all, let us discuss about how the particles are interacting with each other, and how it will show us how the process we have to utilize to stabilize. So this is a graph. We can see this is your x-axis, y-axis. This is a graph, and here we are taking two particles. So here is the particle. Here is also one particle. Two particles we are taking. So now here in the top level we can tell it is your energy of interaction, it is your repulsive force, it is your, you can tell it is your, this side is your attractive force, repulsive force and attractive force. It's your positive charges, it's your negative charges, and in the left down side we can tell it's your attractive force, top side we can tell it's your repulsive force. So 4 types of phenomena we will see here. The first one, if we are taking a same charge, what will happen? If we take a same charge of particles, then what will happen? The particles having same charges and will try to come closer. What force will act in between that? It will be repulsive force, because same charge means always it will repulse each other. So that's why here we can say this curve is the repulsive curve, or force of repulsion, or we are writing as VR. You can tell it's a van der Waals forces of repulsion here. And another phenomena, if you take two opposite charges, what we have? If you take two opposite charges, then definitely they will have attractive force between them, and they will try to come closer. So here you can tell this curve is known as your attractive curve, or forces of attraction will occur. So now the phenomena is that if you take a normal interaction between the two solvents, two solid and liquids, then it will be different. It will show maybe your attractive force or it may be repulsive force. Then how to stabilize this? Sometimes it will repulse each other. If it is having opposite charge, then it will attract each other. If it will attract each other, what will happen? It will aggregate with each other inside the suspension. If opposite charge, it will not come closer, and always it will repulse each other. So that's why we need to stabilize it. For the stabilization, what we will do? Same charge brought together too close and same charge brought together by addition of electrolytes. So now, when we take same charge brought together too close, what will happen? So this is two particles, we will see a graph like this. By addition of electrolyte, we will see a graph like this. So what will happen? We will try to bring two same charges molecule too close, then there will be creation of attractive force. As we know that when we are taking two types of same charge molecules, definitely they are having a repulsive force, they will repulse each other. But if we brought too close, then what will happen? Due to overlapping of the orbitals, what will happen? Attractive force will occur and they will attract each other. If you bring too close, then that's why it's called a primary minimum. This type of phenomena we are calling a primary minimum, where attractive force we will see. And this is also, you can tell, the region of deep flocculated state. When we are creating a deep flocculated suspension, because we are not adding any type of flocculating agent in that, particles will stay as a single entity. So in these cases, we are seeing this primary minimum, and this phenomena we will see when we will store deep flocculated suspension. When we will store it for a long time, what will happen? It will settle in the bottom. It will settle, the particles will settle in the bottom of the container, and slowly what will happen? It will make a hard cake. This type of phenomena is due to attractive forces between the particles, and this phenomena we are calling as primary minimum. Now coming to secondary minimum. Secondary minimums, when you have added some electrolytes in that, then the electrolytes will, we are making distance between them, we are not bringing it too close, but there is a repulsive force acting inside that. But due to addition of we can tell electrolytes, what will happen? It will stay in between the two particles. It will stay in between the two particles. And if it stay in between the two particles, what will happen? It will act as a flux. That means in between two particles, electrolytes molecules present, electrolyte ions present, and it will act as one system. They are not bringing too close, and due to presence of electrolytes, there is a attractive force. So this attractive force, see here, the curve is coming down here. The curve is coming down here because we are making a distance, so repulsive force occurs. But due to presence of electrolytes, once again it brought attractive force. And this type of phenomena we are calling as secondary minimum. Secondary minimum. And this is the region of flocculated state. That means flocks are formed. But what are the flocks? Flocks are the particles are loosely packed. Loosely packed means inside the electrolytes present, and then giving us a same type of system. Flocks act as a one type of molecule. And whenever we are shaking the suspension, the flocks will also try to move. And this is behaving like a one type of molecule. So this is your secondary minimum. So that's why this type of phenomena will occur, and we can stabilize by adding the flux. We can get attractive force by addition of electrolytes in the suspension, and when we try to shake, then the flux will move, and sometimes it will behave. And what is the benefit of this flux? It won't settle in the bottom, because always there is a system. If the electrolytes will be removed, there will be repulsive force, because we are not bringing it too close. So there is a minimum distance between them. So always, if electrolytes removed from that flux, then there will be repulsive force, and once again when the electrolytes will come, they will get attractive force. And that's why always the flux will fall, and we can stabilize easily this type of suspensions. So this is explained by these are the interfacial properties of the suspensions. So in the next class we will discuss about different other things. Thank you.